Please put your hands together for Cole Sebald. On today's video, we're going to be hearing from my good friend and podcast partner, Cole Sebald.
I see life through a completely different lens now. And I actually do thank God that I dealt with depression, because life is so much more beautiful now.
That's right. You heard me. Today's story is coming from a good friend of mine and podcast partner. This is not the only creative thing I do. Madison Story Slam is not the only podcast I host. Today's storyteller and I host a podcast called Chill Filtered, where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. You can find this podcast, Chill Filtered, and the Madison Story Slam podcast on your favorite podcast app just by searching Chill Filtered or by searching Madison Story Slam. Subscribe, leave us a rating and a review while you're there. That helps. Speaking of subscribing, you could hit the subscribe button here on YouTube right now so that you don't miss the new story videos when they come out. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and comment and tell us what you liked about the video or the story, not just the video. I'm sure you love the production quality on, me talking into this single camera and sometimes switching the angle to this camera without looking at it. But anyway, what else? So Cole is telling a story. As you know, this is from our Breaking Point Story Slam. And as you may know, I've said it a few times on these videos that we had some rough stories, just in the sense that they weren't all funny this time. People got pretty serious. And this is one of those serious stories. It has a great ending, a great message, overall message to it. But Cole talks about his struggle with his mental health and depression and suicidal ideation. And it's tough, and but that's kind of like the cool thing about Story Slam, is that we get together and not only do we laugh together, but we get together to hear these tough stories so that we can work together and put our arms around one another and walk through this thing together, through the tough parts and through the crap parts. And I don't know, I don't want to preach too much at you guys, but I will say that I love this community. If you ever want to come join and be a part of the community, you can do that. The third Saturday of every month, we're live in Madison, Wisconsin at the Wilmar Center. And actually, the third Saturday of every month, we're also live on Facebook Live. If you search on Facebook for Madison Story Slam, the third Saturday of every month, we post our events as a live stream. We do live video, and the stream usually starts around 7 p.m. Central Time, and you can catch those. It's a wonderful time, and you don't want to miss it. We'd love to have you there in person, but if you can't make it, you should do the live stream. That's enough. Visit patreon.com/Madison Story Slam if you want to help the channel grow. If you want to, see some stuff there. I don't do a lot there. Maybe sometimes I post some videos, but not a ton. I should do more. I should really do more for my Patreons. So now I'm guilting myself into it. So that's it. Enjoy this story by Cole. Keep in mind, it's not like this super rip-roaring laugh riot story. He has those too. If you see him, you should ask him about The Price is Right. But it is a great story nonetheless, and it's got a great message. Here's Cole.
All right. About 3 weeks ago, I told my therapist that I can't stop thinking about killing myself. And I've been going to this therapist for almost 9 months now, and she was very concerned. And she was very caught off guard and thought things were going very well with our sessions. The fact is that I have been that way for over 8 years now. And you see, when I was 11 years old, I got pretty sick one day. And I remember throwing up, and I also remember being out of school for a day or two. But I also remember that something happened when I was sick that time that didn't happen any other time. And I remember just being overwhelmed with hopelessness and anxiety, and I was 11 years old. And that I started to lose interest in the things that I loved. Like I had a Hot Wheels set that I was digging at age 11 and Game Boy games, and I just lost interest in them. And it really scared the mess out of me. And I was diagnosed at that age with major depression at 11 years old. And the first time I intended to kill myself, it was in my senior year of high school. I went, I only remember about half of my senior year of high school, actually. About halfway through the year, I suffered, suffered is not the word, but I dealt with a breakup of sorts. It wasn't exactly a breakup, but that fueled by my depression, I developed something called traumatic amnesia. And to this day, I actually do not remember September through December of 2007. And a lot of people will ask me, what's amnesia like? And I don't know what it is like for other people, but for me, that scenario is if you're walking down a hallway and memories are indoors on your left and your right, and you can access those memories, or even segments of time with memories, and you can access them. But there was one door that I couldn't open. And it wasn't so much that this door was locked, but it was more so that this door, someone was behind it holding it shut and almost whispering to me, you don't want to see this. And I do remember the latter half of my senior year, and it was often me. I remember going between classes in high school, going to the bathroom and crying in the stall for a few minutes before I headed to my next class, and cleared out my tears so it didn't look like I was crying. And when I quit the swim team, when I was actually a captain of the swim team, I remember going home after school and laying on my bed and just staring at the wall for hours. And I was very tired, and it was just worn out. And one day, my senior year, it was about 2 weeks from graduation, I was feeling much more worse than usual. And so I got up and I grabbed my mom's keys to her car and I went for a drive with a full intention to find a brick wall or a large building or anything that was very solid where I could ram the car into at full speed. And it wasn't so much that I convinced myself not to kill myself that day. I more so, after driving for about an hour, convinced myself to put off the decision at least. And I just wanted the pain to stop. And so after that, things got worse and the depression got very bad. And I just remember there were times where I would just be so tired. And that's how I would describe it in a lot of ways. I remember when I was about 19 or 20 years old, I spent about a year and a half in time waking up every morning saying, I could just kill myself this morning, or I could kill myself today. And there was actually a reason in that segment of time where I didn't kill myself, and that was when I believe in God, and I also believe that God had a plan for me. And I believed that by killing myself, I would be telling God that he was a liar. And I wasn't willing to do that at the time, though this year and a half was by far the worst time of my entire life. Now, thoughts of suicide to me were thoughts of rest. And I just was very worn out. And this all changed in 2011, in January, when I made some random, just completely random New Year's resolutions. And I decided to focus on my health and focus on mental, spiritual, physical health. And so I decided, one, I was going to start working out more. And so I started to do more cardio. And then secondly, I decided I was going to pray more, intentionally pray more. And then I also decided that I wasn't going to talk about depression unless I absolutely needed to. Within 2 weeks, my symptoms were gone. And they've been gone for 8 years now. And all but one symptom. And when I told my therapist 3 weeks ago that I cannot stop thinking about killing myself. I wasn't really fazed by that, and I also wasn't really worried by that. See, when you tell yourself something for every day for years, it's really hard to escape that thought. And I'm super happy. And for those who've heard my stories before, I talk about joyful stories. And I've been happy for not just a coincidence, it's been 8 years I've been very happy, and I've been married to my best friend for 5 of those years, and it's amazing. But I see life through a completely different lens now, and I actually do thank God that I dealt with depression, because life is so much more beautiful now. And even though I still do think about suicide every day, I don't feel that tiredness that I used to before. And I just dismiss the thoughts because I do know life is truly worth living. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Cole. I don't know what to say after that. It's kind of a downer night, guys. I will say this, and I've touched on this a couple times tonight. I love this community so much. If you're new here, I'm so happy you came, and I'm happy that you're a part of this community now. If this is the only time you ever come here, you're still a part of this community because you're going to carry part of this community with you when you leave here. I love that there's so many of you who trust the people that come here enough to carry part of your story when they leave. I love that you're willing to come up here and just rip your chest open and say, here's my heart. I need you guys to help me carry it. And I love that you guys do that, and that you do help people carry their heart and carry their stories. And it's just so cool. This is such a cool community. And I was just telling somebody outside during the last break that I wake up every Story Slam Saturday thinking, I do not want to do this. And then I come here and I'm like, what? Why would I not want to do this? This is like the best thing that I've ever been a part of. I mean, it's just, it sustains me, and I hope it sustains you. I hope that you get out of this what I get out of this. Anyway, okay. Feh.